I had my my health checkup, my yearly health checkup, which, if you haven't ever had the joy of experiencing, is a very unique experience in Japan, and one that I think is very Japanese. It's cool, but I mean, it's so interesting because basically what happens is you go to this like really swanky looking building, if you're in Tokyo at least, and then you kind of like immediately go into this waiting room where you just sit down and you're given a number, and then you're like, okay, and then you sit down and then they read out a number. Today I was 4702. Sick number. Everyone else had 3 digits, by the way. Why was I a 4-digit Andy? I'm not sure why I was given 4 digits, but I was. Perhaps they were trying to, I don't know, measure my circumference of my ass. I'm not sure. So you go to this health checkup thing, and I hand my documents, and then sit down, and then they call my number, and I go up, and then this is the most. It's so nonchalant, but for me, I feel like it's so weird. The night before, you have to pee in a vial because they test your pee. I'm not sure what they're testing for, but and I was the only one who brought pee. I don't know why.
Huh?
No one else seemed to bring piss, only me. So you have to hand over like a bag of piss. It's in a vial, but it's in a bag. It just feels wrong that I'm just handing someone my bag and they just grab it. They just like, yeah, all right, thanks, man, thanks for the piss. And they put it away, and they take a little. No, but they just take your pee. Yeah, and then they look around like, oh, the piss guy's here again. So I, hand that, and then I wait. Then you go up to this other floor, and this is where you kind of like get turned. It's like an inmate simulator. It's great. You go into you get a number, and they're like, right, go in this room, and here are your clothes. So you get given like some kind of thick overall, and then some kind of like sweatpants. And for some reason they are one size. So when I go in, and there's these tiny lockers, and I'm getting changed, and I feel like I'm in the way because there's 8 lockers, and I take up about half the room because it's like right next to you. The back's right next to you. So I'm trying to get my shirt off, and I get these things on, and it's just so small. It's so small. Trying to put this thing on, and like does not go. Like either I pull it all the way up, and I'm strangling any chance of a lineage being formed, or I have to like put it down, and then I look like I'm trying to like, I don't know, insinuate that I'm in some sort of gang. So when they take my blood, they'll be like, shit, all right, I didn't realize you. So I'm pulling them all the way up, and then my feet are showing, and dude, it's a disaster. It's awful. So finally get these clothes on, and then you go into this room, and then you have this piece of paper, and this piece of paper basically is like your sheet with all your info on it, and it kind of makes the rounds of all the stations, and it's just like a waiting room in the middle, with like seats for like maybe like 60 people, and then all the things are like in order. So you start off on the first one, and then you go around in a circle all the rooms, and you do every health checkup, and it takes about 30 minutes, and you do everything in about 30 minutes, not even. Sometimes less. And so they're like, all right, number 4702, come over here, get your x-ray. And then like within like 10 seconds, you go in this room, you go up to this thing, and then they scan your arms and chest. Not sure. Don't know what's going on. And then you leave. You sit down, and then you have to they just grab your paper and take it somewhere else. And then you sit down again. They call you out. You put your hand in the blood pressure thing. They squeeze it, and then like, all right, get out. I'm like, okay. So I sit down, and this is all within the space of like 2 minutes, by the way. It's so fast. And then you wait a little while, and they're like, all right, 472, and you go up, and they measure your height and weight, and then you can also see your stats, your last year stats. So I'm seeing the leaderboard, except it's me, and I'm my worst enemy. But this time I got a bit of a high score. I got a high score on it, on height as well. I added 1 centimeter. Very standard. Felt like I could have 1 centimeter elsewhere. So then we go to the next one, and then you do like the blood. They draw your blood, take it. Again, this is all so fast. And then after that, normally you would do like you would look at this thing, and then you would they'll show you a circle, and either in the top, left, right, or bottom. I did right, left. But for you, maybe it's mirrored. I don't know. You have to say which part of the circle is missing. And you look into it like this. And then, obviously you have to say it in Japanese, and sometimes I fuck up the Japanese. So I'm like, oh, no, I swear I didn't know that. Because I'm like, it's like circle number 2, and it's like this big. It's like, you would have to be legally blind not to be able to spot it, right? And I'm like, Hidari. Sumimasen. Oh, no, Hidari this. Like I'm locking in like on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but like the worst answers. And I'm convinced they think I'm lying. But I can see clearly which part of the circle is missing, you know? It's so obvious. And I'm like, no, I swear it's the right part of the circle. I'm like, all right, buddy. And then you have to listen to this, you put these headphones on, and then you have to press the button when you hear a beep. But the beep is really quiet. And I guess they're testing your hearing. I'm not sure how it works. I ace it every time. Then you have to go wait, and then you go in a room with a doctor, and the doctor will just be like, what's up, man? I'm like, all right, what's up? He's like, do you have diabetes? I was like, no. Like, all right. Well, you're good. I was like, all right. Thanks, man. And again, this has been like 15 minutes, all of this stuff, so fast. Previously, they had told me like, oh, you're a little overweight. And I was like, oh, okay. So what are we going to do about that? You got some Ozempic or some shit? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, but he just says it and then just looks at me. And it's like, I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't want to get in there. I didn't want to argue with him about like BMI and like, you know, Japanese BMI standards versus like, I'm like, I don't want to be mean, but I like, you know, where I'm from. I'm considered pretty normal, you know? So I'm like, all right. He didn't say anything this time, so that was good. And then you go to this other room where, I don't know why, I think this one doctor was actually terrified that I was a foreigner. I'm not sure why. Because I lie down, and I'm like, it's like she's like absolutely nervous when talking to me. And I'm like, yes, chill. And she's like, oh, okay. Is it okay if I put this on your chest? I was like, yeah, man, run it. She's like, okay, it's going to be a little cold. Is that okay? I was like, it's fine. It's fine. Just put the suction cups on my tits, all right? Do it.
You're such a sussy bug.
They do something, I don't know what it is. They put like 3 little things here. They put something on your arms, and then they put something on your legs. I think it's like a cardiograph or something. I'm not entirely sure what it's doing. I didn't say put it on my tits, by the way. I'm just like, dozo. Yep, go ahead. They could tell me to jump off a cliff, and I'd be like, okay, this is part of the cliff jumping test. Okay, yeah, sure, okay, sure. EKG, that sounds about right. And then when I went out, again, this all took maybe like 20 minutes tops. And then I went out, and this guy, you know, looks at my thing, and he goes, all right, you're good, man. I was like, all right, cool. He's like, you'll get the results in 3 weeks. I was like, wait, you just said I was good. Wait, what the fuck? Am I good or am I not good? I have to wait 3 weeks to find out now if I'm good? And that was it. And that was it, 20 minutes. Looked at my thing, the paper. Sorry, the paper. He looked at my paper. Because you have like this sheet, and each doctor has to stamp it. But it's a really cool, efficient way that you go through it. So hopefully I'll find out if anything's wrong with me. I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know if I'm dying. We'll find out. Thanks for clarifying. They've tested everything. I mean, it's good because in the UK, I didn't do this. I would just like die, I guess. I don't know. Because the thought of going to the doctor in the UK is like, well, how much time do I want to waste and how much suffering do I want to endure to get this appointment? And you can't do all those tests in one go. But this is part of like the national health insurance. And I'm not entirely sure, but I could be completely false, but I think like if your employee is unhealthy, because a lot of the time it goes through the company, I think they like tax you or do something more to the company if your like employees are all unhealthy or something. I don't fully understand how it works in the UK. Public hospitals are a pain. It's just like maybe this is the correct way. I don't know what the best way is, but in the UK, I would only go to the hospital if I'm like dying. If I'm not dying, I just won't go. And here it's like, okay, well, it's a free health checkup once a year that takes 20 minutes and checks a bunch of things that I should probably check once a year. And I'm like, all right. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I appreciate it. In Germany, you can do yearly checkups only from 35. Really? But I guess is there a downside to having like just a generic test once a year? I don't know. In Japan, I think when you get 40, they require yearly colonoscopies. And that seems, or is it 50? It might be 50. That seems like, ooh. Yearly? Yeah, yearly, I think so. Soon then. No, I got 10 years. I got 10 years. Dig in your butt. Yeah, well, that's gotta be, yeah. There isn't really, but it's just expensive. Yeah, I guess so. If you're taking yearly colonoscopies, then at that point, you're just doing it for enjoyment. I think it is. I could be spreading misinformation, which I do often. Yeah. Come do your medical treatment here in Malaysia. It's the #1 destination for medical tourists in the world, 2025. Why is that really like an ad? I've read like an ad. Also, why would I go to Malaysia for a medical thing? I have it here. I'm not trying to compete in like the medical Olympics, bro. I'm just trying to check my blood and shit. Colon cancer. Yeah, I mean, if you have colon cancer or, my God, like some kind of like prostate problem or whatever, like it feels like that would be an absolute nightmare. So probably better to get it checked. Look at us. Look how old we are, chat. We're talking about colonoscopies. Look at us, chat. I had a colonoscopy at 26. I had a lot of physical pain and mental health issues, so I got a ton of tests done on me. Oh my gosh. At 26, that's brutal, my friend. Oh my God. We don't have enough health care workers. Colon cancer is hard to detect. That's why you got to do a yearly colonoscopy. It does seem like I mean, oh my God, anything internal is just terrifying. Used to it. Guys, we're all getting old. We're all getting old. How do they check for brain cancer? I don't know, but I'd have to guess that perhaps they just check if you have League of Legends installed on your PC. That's like the #1. I did wonder why they were asking me that. They pulled me aside after that. That was an interesting thing. MRI? That's too expensive. There's a much more efficient way. There's a much more efficient way we can test.